Hello, hello, sweet honeybees. Welcome back to the Electric Honey Pot, where energy is the nectar of life. My name is Autumn, and I am so extremely grateful that you are here with me, giving my channel a chance, giving me a chance. It really does mean the world to me. I have a channeled message for you today that is for anyone out there that may be struggling with a dark night of the soul or coming to terms with life not looking the way that they wanted it to up until this point. I had some messages come through in my sleep last night as well as in my morning meditation, and I'm going to go over the cards of the day that I had come out today towards the end of the video, but I want to focus on what came through within my dreams. The cards is relating to this too, as always. But we all share this collective consciousness, and even if these messages are deeply relevant to my own personal life, I feel that it is important to share them as they come through because it may also help someone else out there. Since we all share this consciousness, we're all sharing in this human experience, we each can relate to each other, and we're each feeling similar things, or at least someone out there is feeling something similar to what I've felt or is going through something similar to what I've been through. You are never alone in any of the experiences you ever have, even when it feels like it. No one's experience is exactly the same as yours, but there are people out there that understand and that can relate and empathize with anything that you're going through. The first message that I had come through in my dream, I couldn't really remember my dream, so I just wrote like a quick note that says something about the story of Bambi. Now, we all know Bambi's this sad story about, this deer. Its mom gets killed. His mom gets killed. And then he has to learn how to navigate life on his own. I took some notes about the story of Bambi when I was deciphering what this could mean. And I wrote, Bambi is a coming of age story through tragedy and finding courage in an unforgiving world. Bambi learns life is painful, yet it can also contain beauty. No creature, not even the ones that take life, are above any others, as we all die in the end. We experience both good things and bad things within our lives. They're just, good and bad's just these labels that we put on different experiences that we have, but it's all a part of life. It's all the same. You can't have one without the other. And we often go through these painful, difficult experiences because those are the experiences that are the greatest catalysts towards our growth. They're the types of experiences that teach us things like strength, persistence, courage, how to use our voices, how to stand up for ourselves, how to learn how to stand up for others. When we change our perspective about these situations that we find ourselves in. There are people out there that go through these difficult situations, and the way they respond to it is by inflicting more pain on the world. But we have free will. We have the choice of whether or not we want to use those kinds of experiences to transform us into better people and transform our lives into something more beautiful. Is it going to be fuel for our fire to burn even brighter, or is it going to be the blanket that we toss on our inner fire to snuff it out? The choice is ours to make. And I know it can be kind of difficult when you enter that dark night of the soul, when you really start evaluating your life up until this point. You start reflecting on trauma that you may have faced and how the things that you lived through during your upbringing may have made life more complicated, may have given you these problems that you've had to learn how to navigate and overcome and live with, how it may have even set you back to where you aren't where you want to be in life. I got this message about don't be chicken, open the door. Not being afraid to begin again. I'm currently reading this book right now called Rabbits, and it's this book about this video game with all kinds of like synchronicity that happens, and some people experience tragedy as they play the game, and it just really makes me think of, you know, like the language of the universe found within The Alchemist with the synchronicities, and the game, it has me thinking of like all of this matrix programming and stuff. And when you enter that dark night of the soul and you kind of start realizing how all of these heavy experiences that you have lived through have been controlling your life and manipulating your behaviors and your choices, it can be a really hard pill to swallow. But we have to learn how to reflect on these things and look at these things if we want to change our lives in more positive ways and invite more blessings into our life, more joy, more bliss into our life, if we want to connect deeper with our higher selves and our spirits. And speaking of our higher selves, I was in my meditation this morning and I heard emerald vision. And so emerald's the color green. I know it's also a gemstone, but I immediately just think of the color green whenever I hear emerald. So I started thinking about our heart chakra, and vision could represent our focus. And so I started thinking about what is your focus? Are you still focusing on survival, living in that matrix programming, that trauma mode, or are you focusing on what your heart wants, what your soul wants? You know, we can work these jobs, but when we work this job, that doesn't make us feel fulfilled, with the focus being on the money we make from it, then it's just going to continue to get us caught in this matrix programming loop where we are coming from this state of lack instead of a state of abundance. Whereas if we work these jobs that may not exactly fulfill our soul, we think of all of the feelings that having this money will provide for us, or all of the things that having that money will allow us to accomplish. Like for me personally, I'm currently working a job that does not make me feel fulfilled, that I would honestly really like to quit sooner rather than later. And I just keep telling myself that it's only temporary. I'm not doing it for the money. I'm doing it because it's helping open the door to me chasing my dream, following my heart. I will be able to buy car tires for my SUV so I can finally start living the nomadic lifestyle that I have been dreaming about and really focusing on bringing my creative projects to life. So that emerald vision just makes me think of heart-based focus. You know, what are we focusing on? Are we focusing on that survival, or are we focusing on our hearts, listening to our hearts and following our heart and trusting that as we follow our heart, that is when the universe, God, source, creator, spirit, whatever it is that you want to call it, will grant us, bless us with all of the resources that we need to take care of us. You know, the universe always provides, but you have to learn how to trust. The cards that came out today, like I said, were extremely relevant to all of these messages. We had the honeymoon coming out, which in this deck, the honeymoon is the Lover's card, a card about making choices, coming into divine union with your higher self. And when I think of when I think of like divine union with our higher self, I think of us being on our highest path, following our heart, fulfilling our soul's mission, our soul's purpose for being here. And, again, what choices are you making? What are you choosing to focus on? Are you focusing on that energy of survival, or are you focusing on your heart, your dreams, your passions, your soul, which is what brings you into that divine union with your higher self and your highest path? And the card that was on the bottom of the deck today was the Four of Swords, a card of rest and contemplation. The way we learn how to listen to our heart and we learn what it is that our heart and our soul desires is by taking that time to go within, focus on ourselves, and really listen to what it is our soul is telling us that we want. You have to build that relationship with yourself and figure out what exactly is your soul calling you to do, rather than listening to all of these outside sources that are telling you you need to do X, Y, Z to be fulfilled or to have success within your life. And the only way you learn about yourself is by taking time to yourself. This Four of Swords comes out after the Three of Swords, which is a card about experiencing like great heartbreak. You have gone through all kinds of painful situations in your life, and the way that you learn who you are on a soul level after all of the trauma programming, all of the matrix programming that has been forced upon you, is to take that time and go within, to enter this kind of hibernation, incubation period where you are exploring the depths of your soul before you come out into the world. You have to go within to be able to come into that divine union with your higher self. And then at the very end of all of it, I got this message about production. Once you figure out what your emerald vision is by going within, contemplating, really learning to drop into yourself, listen to your soul and your heart, that's when you can enter this period of productivity where you're really chasing your goals and your dreams. You're on your highest path. And all of this takes time, and it's not a race. It's about the journey, not the destination. But if you are in some kind of low period right now where you are questioning every single thing about your life, I just want you to know that it's a part of the process. It is a part of the spiritual awakening process. It is a part of the self-discovery process, because you have to shed all of these layers, all of these things that have been forced upon you to be able to rediscover who you are. We come into this world knowing who we are, but so many things happen to us and we kind of get lost in the shuffle along the way, and we have to come into these darker periods, these cold, dark periods of winter where we may not know when this bitterness will come to an end, but it always does. Just take this time to really rest and reflect, learn about yourself, learn to love yourself, figure out what it is that would make your soul happy, and when you're ready, let spring bloom. Start chasing your goals. Start chasing your dreams. Whatever it is that you came into this life to provide to the world needs. You have a purpose. You would not exist if you did not have a purpose. Your life matters. Your story matters, your creativity matters, your existence here in the world makes the world a better place. And it's time that you start to see how valuable and worthy you are. It's time you really start to figure out what kind of life you want to lead, what kind of impact that you want to make on this world, and learn to trust in yourself. Learn to trust the guidance that is coming to you. Learn to listen to your heart. Your heart knows. Our minds can get caught up in all kinds of logic and anxiety sometimes. And don't get me wrong, it is definitely a good idea to think things through. That's also part of the contemplation. But you also need to learn how to listen to your heart and not your programming or your trauma. I really hope that this message helps someone out there. If you resonate, I would love to know down in the comments. I would love to interact with anybody that may be watching my videos. If this didn't resonate for you, that is totally cool too. Please do not try to force anything to fit. Take what resonates and leave the rest. I should not be telling you anything that you do not already know yourself. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful rest of your day, night, week, month, year, and life. I love you so much, and I'm so grateful that you're here. Stay curious.